This game was played in 2014. When they questioned Magnus about their game plan, Magnus stated that he would have 30 seconds and that Bill Gates could have as much time as he wanted because he doesn't really care. Ultimately, they decided that Magnus would have 30 seconds and Gates would have 2 minutes. The game went as follows. Bill Gates was playing white. He kicked off with e4, one of the best first move anyone can play in chess, gaining central space because that's where the game is mostly played. Another good one was d4. Magnus replies nc6. One of my all-time favorite unconventional responses to both e4 and d4 is this, the Nimzovich defense, although not the best since white can simply attempt to return to classical waters. Magnus also needs to consider the fact that he has only 30 seconds left in the clock, so it makes little difference if you get a good position if you won't have enough time remaining to complete the game. If you play on your computer and use a mouse, 30 seconds, also known as hyperbullet, can be sufficient, but not on the board since picking and placing pieces takes time. Bill Gates plays nf3, very sensible move, all good so far. Magnus replies d5. Bill Gates plays bd3. This is a bit of a defensive move. To gain a tempo, exd5 followed by nc3 may have been preferable. In a way, black would have had worse Scandinavian defense. Magnus plays nf6. Bill Gates plays exd5, making the board easier for both of them to play, since less pieces means less things to worry about. Magnus plays qxd5. With nc3, Bill Gates does in fact pick up the pace here. Magnus makes a sincere effort to go for a rapid checkmate despite having a very restricted amount of time. He anticipates that white will probably castle on the k side and attempt to checkmate on h2. He therefore plays qh5 with this viewpoint in mind. Magnus would ultimately run out of time, at least some of the time, if a powerful player was playing white and understood that he had fewer than 30 seconds. He would have probably opted for delaying strategies, for example, try and castle q-side instead. Moves like qe2, b3, pb2, and queenside castling would likely indicate this. But maybe the chances increases for the GMs when they have 2 minutes. Magnus is an incredibly beast on the chessboard. I mean it seriously. It is simply not that important to give Bill Gates 2 minutes. Magnus can win fairly swiftly as long as he doesn't unintentionally knock down pieces and then have to set them up in his time. Bill Gates did routinely castle kingside here. The problem is that black's queen is already eyeing the sensitive h2 pawn. This might be extremely dangerous if the other black pieces gave it a stronger combined attack. There is a major trap in this position on h2. Let us know in the comments if you're able to find it. Magnus played bg4 and you can see that a lot of things are starting to happen here on the king side. Gates should be very careful about what he is doing. Bill Gates goes on to make a logical move by playing h3. Magnus plays ne5, now he decides to sacrifice the bishop here, and it's not the greatest of moves, but it is the greatest of move for the occasion. Hence, the somewhat pinned f3 knight is under increased pressure, and at the same time doesn't mind a knight sacrifice as this creates a real h2 issue to solve. Bill Gates plays hxg4. In a sense, Bill Gates is now winning thanks to this, but be2 was a bit safer. Magnus plays nf6 xg4. Magnus now has a lot of peace in front of the white king, and white should be very careful. One thing that you have to realize is that if this knight moves or is captured, queen here will be checkmate. So one move that comes to mind is rook to e1. With rook to e1, Bill Gates gets enough for a winning advantage, of course. That's easier said than done. He also has only 2 minutes from the start of the game, and he is playing the world champion as this is 2014. Magnus is already world champion. Unfortunately, Bill Gates makes a mistake here and plays nxe5. This allows qh2 checkmate. Magnus played, and he stopped the time at this exact same moment, and in the end, Bill Gates had 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock, whereas Magnus Carlsen had some 18 seconds on the clock as he delivered checkmate. If Bill Gates had played re1 instead, white would surely have been winning as there would be an escape route for the white king, and being a piece up never hurts. Magnus optimized his play for the opponent and time limit. This is the real way to play strong chess in context. One must take into account the game's overall context. In most cases, Magnus wouldn't use this opening against a chess grandmaster. So there you have it, the infamous game between probably the greatest chess player of all time, Magnus Carlsen, and one of the greatest technology minds of our time, Bill Gates. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments which game do you want to see next.